Hi teachers, it's me, Dr. Christy, and I have an idea to share with you today. First, see this thing behind me? Yeah, it's the alphabet pockets, and I bought this from United Art and Education here in Ohio, but you can get them anywhere. I'll show you what it looks like unfolded. But for now, I just want you to notice that it's got every letter of the alphabet and it's got pockets. So now that I know about the science of reading, and I know what is required for kids to become excellent readers and spellers, I don't have a word wall. In fact, I confess I've never had a word wall in my classroom. The word wall does things that, just from a researcher's perspective, they don't align with what I believe to be true about what is required for kids to learn to read and spell well. First of all, a lot of times on word walls, you'll see something that looks like this. It'll have the word the, T-H-E says the or the, and it has this box around it. And I don't know if you know it or not, but that box is designed to help kids focus on the shape of the letter or shape of the word. So it acknowledges that it has two tall letters and one small letter. And it's supposed to help kids remember the word the by looking at the shape. That doesn't align with anything I know to be true about the science of reading. So I don't want that. Secondly, I knew that students in kindergarten classrooms in the schools where I worked, they had the word the on the wall, and then a, and then maybe she, and they had words posted around on the wall, and they were left there. As soon as they were introduced, they went on the wall and they were left there, and sometimes teachers would take a big stick and say the, a, he, and they would just go around the room reading those words. And you might say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, not much, except there is pretty much wrong with that. Here's the thing. We don't want kids to remember that the word the is in the corner, and anytime they need to spell the word the, they look up and say, all right, it's this one. It's the one that has a T and then an H and then an E. We don't want that. We want the kids to hold the words in their memories. So I don't put words on the wall for kids to remember, and I especially don't want them to have to look in that location to find it. When they're not in my room, I still want them to be equipped to spell the word the. So I wanted to come up with a way that would help kids to understand how words work, that would promote an awareness of phonemes or sounds in words, so phonemic awareness. I wanted a time to constantly be able to reinforce the phonics lessons that I was teaching from day one. And I wanted kids to expand their vocabularies. So that 4 things so far. I wanted them to become familiar with the idea that I don't have to know how a word is spelled, but I should be able to recognize it, knowing what I know to be true about how words work. So the spellings could vary a little bit. We acknowledge that with phonics instructors, we acknowledge that. But we should be able to narrow it down. And we want to promote the ABC orders, putting things in alphabetical order. Let's see, I'm sure there are other things. Oh, here's another benefit. When my kids are in writer's workshop, and I know I'm a Lucy Calkins workshop approach fan, but it stops there. I love the workshop approach. I believe that kids can be fully engaged and surrounded by quality literature and still use explicit systematic phonics. I'll convince you of that over time. Just give me a bit. So here's the deal. The first part of my writer's workshop is nothing like Lucy Calkins' workshop, other than it embraces a love for writing, a love for reading, acknowledging author's craft, relishing in the beauty of children's literature. I love all that. But I am a conventions girl. I say, equip your students with the conventions first, and then they'll be equipped to do the magic that they've experienced in so many of the books that they love. So conventions first. At Writer's Workshop in my room, the last room was 205. Yay to all the 205 scholars out there. So I believe in my room, we started with the conventions, and the first one was handwriting. There's a video that you can find, and it's mine, and it teaches kids how to systematically navigate the letter formations that are, they're tidy and they're efficient. They don't waste any time. They keep us going in the direction we need to be moving from left to right across the page. That's coming. So the first 2 to 3 weeks would be just devoted to handwriting. And we're building stamina, making those letters over and over again. Our hands don't get tired when we have big thoughts that we want to express on paper. Handwriting first. Then the next part of my writer's workshop really starts with 1-word sentences and then 2-word sentences. And each of those, we're reminding ourselves that a capital needs to be at the beginning of the sentence and an end mark at the end. And it should make sense, and you should have spaces between your words. All the conventions, get them nailed down. You can do this pretty quickly. Well, as soon as we have stopped the handwriting instruction and the kids are beginning to explore writing complete thoughts with a who or what and what about it in the sentence, we can get a little crafty with that eventually. But in the initial stages, we want our kids to be able to write a complete thought. It's what's required of writers. So as we're beginning that work, I introduce what I call the dynamic dictionary. So dynamic means it's ever changing. Of course, this is going to be ever changing. At the beginning of every school year, my dynamic dictionary looks just like this. And then I teach my kids a system for approaching me during Writer's Workshop. So everyone is seated at their tables. The lights are usually dimmed with a lot of other lights around the classroom. And usually I have some music on. Sometimes it's featuring a composer. Sometimes it's Chance the Rapper and the Arthur theme song. That's one of our favorites. We put it on repeat. We kind of get in that deep work mode with a good song that's kind of got a little beat and yet subtle enough that the kids can really focus on their own thoughts. So lights dimmed, the music's on, everyone is ready to focus on their writing. And then kids who are writing and they think, gee, I really don't know how to spell that word, and it's kind of important to my writing. So I'm going to go to Dr. Williams and ask for some support. Well, they're passed to come to talk to me because I'm seated at a table with other scholars I'm conferencing with. And I normally do that one table. I have 5 tables in my room. And I do one table on Monday, another table on Tuesday, and I kind of go that way. So that makes sure I get at every single student's table, and I am there to kind of coach them in their craft and acknowledge and really just see them, see the beautiful things that they're doing, and teaching along the way. But when kids want to ask me how to spell a word, even if they're children who are not seated at that table, they bring a pass to me. And right by the dynamic dictionary, I have a basket that's filled with empty 3x5 index cards. And they hand me this card, and I always have a Sharpie with me. And so it's tucked in a pocket or in my folder somewhere. I've got a Sharpie with me. And as soon as a student approaches, they bring me this card and I say, what may I help you with? And they say, I need to spell the word, let's say the word is soccer. Okay, soccer, that's a big one. So this is what I do. I take the word card and I say one of 2 things. I'll either say, I'll make the sound, you tell me the letter. So I might say S, and they'll say S, and then I'll say ah, and they say O, and then I say K, and they'll say C or K, and I say this one's a C, and there are actually 2 of them. And then I say and they say R. And then I can say, you're right, it is an R, but soccer has 2 syllables. Every syllable has to have a vowel. So has to have a vowel. Which vowel might be bossed by an R? And they say usually it's an E. And it is in this word, soccer. So let me fix that S. It didn't come. I had my cap off too long while I was chatting to you. So here's the word soccer. I make sure I'm the one who's writing these. It could be another volunteer in my classroom, but it's only the teacher who adds these words to the dynamic dictionary. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry and it's messy like this, I'll go back and make it a little tidier. But here's the thing, I go again, I say soccer. Got it? And they say, yes, thank you. And I give them the card, they take it to their table and they begin spelling the word soccer. And I'm constantly encouraging them to make the sounds. Don't name the letter, don't say SOCCER, don't do that. I want you to sound spell. So when they're at their tables, they're supposed to say and write it just like it's on their card. And then the next task is to take it over to the dynamic dictionary and slip it in the S pocket. Now here's the deal. When students need words, they are required to go to the dynamic dictionary first. Only if they don't find the word in that letter, the appropriate letter pocket, are they permitted to come to me. So then if they don't find the word in the dynamic dictionary, they bring this word card to me, and then they might ask to spell something else. Cousin, let's say, cousin. So in this word, I would say, I'm going to ask you to make the sound, and I'll write the letter. So the student might say k, and I say, yeah, it's a C that says k. And the next sound is and I can say, oh, this one's really tricky because I would think it would just be a U, but in the word cousin, it's actually an OU that says So we have k, what's the next sound? S, yep, it's an S, cuz. What's the next sound? I, yep, that's an I. What's the next sound? That's it. That's how you spell the word cousin. So it could have been a C or a K, right? But now you know it's a C at the beginning of cousin. So when you put it in the dynamic dictionary, you want the C sticking up. So that's the way it works. And then the next person might come to me and say, I need the word cousin, please. And I'd say, wait, I know the word cousin is in the dictionary. So I need you to take this card back and look. So the kids stand by the dynamic dictionary and they can go through the word cards there. Eventually it slows down. So you can imagine the first few weeks while we're just getting this dynamic dictionary loaded up, I'm spending most of my time reinforcing phonemic awareness, reinforcing all the phonics rules that we are pounding in just as quickly as I can. Not during this writing time. We have a separate time where we work on phonics, but I'm reinforcing it here with the dynamic dictionary. Soon these are just bulging, filled with words, and not just any word either, because we want the kids to not just stick with those what I call kindergarten words that anybody uses. We want to expand our vocabulary. So rather than having kids say, I really don't want to spell the word incredible, so I'm just going to use good. I don't want that. I want our kids to be encouraged to use the better word. We call them $1 million words, or at least $100 words. And we want them to refrain from just staying within what's easy for them. So I love the dynamic dictionary. Eventually, when these words are filled, I assign every one of my students a letter. So I have, instead of student 1, 2, 3, we have A, B, C, of course, doctor and literacy, with a focus on literacy. So what we do is every now and again, for maybe the morning warm up or something, I have the students, maybe all of them, go to their letter pocket and alphabetize their the words in their letter pockets. And so, of course, some kids have so many words in their letter pockets and some don't have very many. So we usually have academic partners and they can share with one another. So the person who has letter Z, who doesn't have as many words, would team up with another student who maybe has a more common word in our dynamic dictionary, or more word cards in our dynamic dictionary, so they can partner on that. So then you can teach them about putting things in alphabetical order to the second and third letter as the kids get more sophisticated in their skills. So That's how I do it, the dynamic dictionary. And you might say, wow, she's really wasting a lot of time in her writer's workshop. She could be working on using the ellipsis or, taking a small moment. Well, those things are great after your kids have confidence in their spelling skills. And so we spend the first quite a few weeks nailing down the handwriting, then talking about sound spelling. You make the sound, you write the letter that represents that sound. And I model that with our dynamic dictionary. So I challenge you, maybe not this year, but it's not too late. Next year, think about moving away from the word wall and into the dynamic dictionary if you want to embrace the science of reading and knowing that that means promoting phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, comprehension, of course, and I forgot one, fluency. Fluency comes last. They are all important, but fluency comes last. We want accuracy before fluency, so let's not worry about that for quite some time. It will come. For now, let's just focus on hearing the sounds in the words we say and representing those sounds with letters on the page. That's it for today. Have fun creating your dynamic dictionary. Oh, let me show you. This dynamic dictionary looks like this. Yeah, you can find it just about anywhere. Look for the Alphabet Center. That's it. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.